Right. One thing we can definitely learn from this round of action this weekend is Arsenal are poised to win the league. I mean, how many more chances do Villa need? How many more chances does City need to close the gap on Arsenal? And you've got to give credit to Arsenal because every time there is an opportunity to extend their lead, they've done it. They have done it. They smashed Leeds 4-0. There was only ever going to be one winner. There was only ever going to be one outcome, and that outcome was with the Gunners walking away with 3 points, and they did that emphatically. And again with Arsenal as well, they've got a lot of players that have come back from injury, so their squad is looking primed for the remainder of the season. They're looking primed because usually around about this period is when they start slacking off a little bit, and then they start picking up injuries and what have you. But their squad is so elite, it's so big, it's so vast that they're able to cover. And it seems like all their better players are coming back now. You've got Havertz coming back. You've got Jesus coming back. Of course, their centre defenders are there. Their central defenders are there. The centre backs are there, and they're looking strong as well. So Arsenal are looking primed, and again, they've made the right purchases. They've made the right signings over the windows, and they are looking good. So it's gonna take, I don't know, it's gonna take a miracle, if you like, for either City or Villa to stop Arsenal from winning the Premier League this season. And it may not even come down to that. It may not even come down to City and Villa putting in performances or playing out their skin to get to that position. It may just be Arsenal bottling it again. But I think the way Arteta is kind of set at his side, I think this time round, I think they do have the minerals. I could be wrong. But from what I've seen, it looks like they're more. I don't know. They've got a different type of mentality. Their mentality is not what it used to be. They've got that winning mentality, and of course they've got the set pieces as well, and they just keep on getting goals from set pieces. So I don't know. They look like they got that belief now. They look like they got that belief. They look like every time they go out, doesn't matter whether they're playing well or whether they're playing a terrible, whether they're having a poor game, just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. What does matter is that they have that belief that they can get 3 points, and they've been getting 3 points, and they've been the most consistent team all season long. Say what you want about City and whoever else, but they have been super consistent, Arsenal. And that consistency is probably what's going to help them win the Premier League in May. Now, as I say, they battered Leeds 4-0. They're now 6 points clear. They're 6 points clear at the top. They've got 14 games remaining. So now they've got 14 games remaining. And if Arteta can manage those 14 games, if they can manage those 14 games well, Arsenal will be crowned champions in May. Now, we've seen City time and time again come back. We've seen them come back from these types of position and close the gap because that's how well-oiled City are. But I don't know. I can't see it this time because every time they have an opportunity to close the gap, they fail. They fail at every turn. That's how they've been this season. Where Arsenal have been consistent, Manchester City have been inconsistent. They go into this game, so you think to yourself, okay, yeah, given what's at stake, they will get the 3 points, but they don't. They haven't been consistent for whatever reason. But I think they have made some good purchases this transfer window. I think bringing in Semenyo and Guehi definitely will make a difference. And Semenyo has carried on the same form from Bournemouth, and he's just been balling out. I think he's probably been one of the standout players this season. And he definitely will make a difference. But I don't know whether he's good enough to influence that City side. Again, he was on the score sheet again today against Tottenham. Now, City were winning the game 2-0. It was a done deal. It was game, set and match by half time. It was game, set and match by half time. But credit to Spurs, they dug deep and they did whatever they had to do. And they had moments as well whereby they could have maybe nicked the game. But this is what I'm saying. City of old would have wrapped that game up. But then let's have it right. Tottenham have been a bogey side for Man City for the past couple of years, if you like. They have definitely been a team that always poses a threat to City. Doesn't matter where they've met. whether home or away or in cup competitions, whatever the case may be. They just always seem to have the better of City. But, you know, in these types of games, if you're competing for the Premier League title, and as I say, City have been in this position many a times, you know, they've been in this position many a time. So these are the type of games you'd expect. With 14 games to go, you'd expect them to be wrapping up Spurs. You'd expect them to be dumping on Spurs 4-5, 6-0. Spurs haven't got anything to play for. Spurs are back in the same position they were last year. Spurs are 14th, 15th in the league. You know, lose a couple more games, that's a relegation dogfight. You know, so it's not, you know, it's not boding well for Spurs at the moment, to be fair. But as I say, you give credit to the players for digging in and not giving up and having that resilience and the mentality to keep going right up onto the final whistle. But as I say, from a City perspective, they should be wrapping up the game. You don't just give away 2 goals and you're competing for a Premier League title. You're supposed to be in a in a 3-horse race with Arsenal and Villa. But at the end of the day, Arsenal just seem to be the more consistent side, and that consistency is what may give them the title, unless City buck up their ideas and start putting some some wins together and going on a long winning streak. But at this point in time, I think the fixtures at the moment probably favours Arsenal, and Arsenal aren't going to be losing to any random team. They're going to be winning this game. Doesn't matter whether the football's attractive or not. They are doing a job, and that job is getting 3 points. And, you know, their next game is against Sunderland at the Emirates. And Sunderland have been good this season, and they've definitely been good this season, but I can't see Sunderland beating Arsenal at the Emirates. I'm sorry. I just can't see that happening. So you might as well just say that's another 3 points for Arsenal. Villa, on the other hand, they lost to Brentwood. I beg your pardon, Brentwood. They lost to Brentford. You know, they lost to Brentford, and you think to yourself, well, if you're third in the league, you know, you're 3-4 points behind Arsenal, why in the hell aren't you whacking up Brentford? How do you lose to Brentford? You know, I just don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You know, how can you lose to Brentford and you're competing for the Premier League title? You know, a title that you haven't won. You know what I mean? Villa haven't won the Premier League. So you're in a great position. And it's not like Arsenal have ran away with it and they're like 15 or 20 points clear. You know, you're still in it. So I just don't understand. I don't understand. It's almost as if these teams do not want to win the Premier League title. You know, you've got to do better than that. And I think their next game's against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth, they've had a fairly decent season as well by their standards. So again, it's going to be a tough game for Villa. It's going to be a tough game for Villa, but if they want to be in it, they've got to win these games. They've got to win these games. Otherwise, you know, 14 games, Arsenal can win 8 or 9 of those games, and they'll be crowned champions in May. And I think City, they've made life hard for themselves where they didn't need to. Now they're going up against Liverpool on Saturday. That's their next Premier League game, against Liverpool on Saturday, and that's at Anfield. You know, that's not an easy game. And Liverpool seem to be fine-tuning their squad now, and they seem to be hitting some type of rhythm. So it's going to be a tough game. I can't even say, oh yeah, City are going to beat Liverpool. I can't say that. So you might as well just say maybe Arsenal at this point next week, they may be 9 points clear. They may be 9 points clear because both their nearest competitors aren't doing anything. You know, they're not playing like teams that want to win a Premier League title. But again, you take your hat off to Arsenal because they're doing a job. Yes, you know, set piece FC or whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. 3 points is all that matters. And if they carry on this way, 14 games to go, 6 points clear, yeah, Arsenal will be crowned champions in May. Anyway, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you very much.